That's great. And Rachel, again, appreciate you and Pyramid Club giving us the opportunity to do this presentation and chat with some of your members and followers, and just give them some really good information on how to make really the best out of a bad situation that we're all kind of dealing with. Just even personally, when all this kind of started for me, it was more shock for a little bit, and it was kind of hard to figure out, how do you communicate, how do you talk to folks, and as we'll go through in this presentation, there's a way to handle all those relationships, but again, at the end of the day, you have to push your business forward, and we're really looking forward to kind of showcasing to all the folks who join us today, of course live, and folks that watch this recording later, about how you can really enhance your marketing, how you can really come out of the other side of this in a better shape than when everything started. So we're excited to jump in and do this presentation for you all. And again, welcome to our webinar. Just to kind of kick things off, let you know who we are. And Kevin, I'll let you do the honors of introducing yourself. This is Kevin Homer, the president of Navitas Marketing. But Kevin, tell the people about yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Kevin Homer, the president of Navitas Marketing. How'd I do?
I'll give you a 5.
I'll take it. That's pretty good for you. Zach said, appreciate everybody joining us today. And, so far it looks like we have a little bit smaller of a group. So I just want to say that if anybody does have any questions throughout, feel free to unmute yourself, ask a question, have an open dialogue with everybody. Of course, you can also use the chat feature if you're more comfortable with that. And, we'll bring up your topic whenever we're able to. But as Zach said, yes, I am the president of Navitas Marketing. We're a marketing agency in the Philly suburbs, just outside of King of Prussia. Actually started off, you'll see another title I have on there is that I am the partner of the Homer Group, which is a 3-generation commercial printing company, which has been out in the King of Prussia area for close to 50 years. We're coming up on our 60th anniversary. And our marketing agency kind of success on the print side. In the mid-2000s, as we saw more of a need for marketing strategy, and of course digital marketing was becoming much bigger, it was time to pivot. It was time to start to offer both sides of the marketing spectrum. So the Homer Group is our commercial printing company, and Navitas is our agency. You'll see another title up there as the creator of Sign of Gratitude. That is actually a platform that we just launched about 3 weeks ago on the print side of our business. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today is how COVID-19 has required all businesses, regardless of what you're doing, to start differently and a bit and see what other opportunities are out there, whether they're for short-term gain or long-term gain. So one of the things that we did was we established this platform called Sign of Gratitude, where we have a number of different lawn signs available for purchase that show different levels of appreciation for different industries and essential workers right now. And proceeds are going to a program called Slice Out Hunger, which is donating the money back and purchasing large quantities of pizza for large audiences of essential workers. So we're giving back and supporting both essential work and pizza shop country. And thought it was important to to spotlight that I am a Philadelphia guy in and out, born in the Philadelphia suburbs, graduated from Drexel University, and obviously still here in the Philly suburbs. So thanks for joining us. And Zach, you want to introduce yourself a little bit further?
Indeed. I am Zach James. I am the business development strategist at Navitas. And as you can kind of see from that title, it's made up of a few different things. Business development, of course, a lot of people look at that as the new way of just saying sales. But I look at it a lot differently. Really focus on how do we grow a business? How do we get from A to B? Of course, that'll encompass sales, but it also encompasses the strategy that we're using to get there, the execution of that marketing plan. So I really enjoy putting that together and formulating these strategies with Navitas and really executing on those for our clients. I'm also the CEO of Rebel Hill Consulting, which is my own business consulting firm that I started about 5 years ago. Really aimed towards entrepreneurs and helping them grow and grow their business from, again, that starting point to that end point. Really passionate about working with nonprofits. And through Rebel Hill Consulting, I realized I needed to grow and have bigger sort of assets at my disposal. And that's really how our relationship with Navitas began. There's so much that a marketing firm can provide to a company, your website development, SEO, things that I really didn't know well on my own. So it's been great to work with Navitas and bring that to our client base. I'm also a partner at My New Philly, which a lot of folks know is a media outlet here in Philadelphia. They are a video production and media outlet. So not only does My New Philly create our own content, but we also make other people's video content. So everything from commercials to explainer videos. We film weddings. We create TV shows. We also do live streaming. So anything in that video production space, we do that at My New Philly. And very similar to Kevin, born and raised in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and am a Temple grad, class of 2008. So very proud of my Temple roots. And of course, I love to chastise Kevin whenever Temple does anything better than Drexel, which I will say they do every day. That's just a little bit.
I still say our football team is undefeated since the 70s.
Great job there, Kevin. So just to hop in today, just a quick little overview of where we're at right now. As I'm sure a lot of you guys know, in March, everything changed very dramatically for all of us. We're in a different world than we were when we started 2020. And it's really important that we figure out, how do we move forward differently? How do we engage people? How do we sell our products and services? How are you communicating? Communication is really key in today's day and age. What you say, again, could offend someone, could be inappropriate. Timing is very important. So again, all this really changed for us recently. And of course, businesses adapting is really what the name of the game is today. You really got to be prepared for life after COVID-19. Granted, we don't necessarily know what that's going to look like. It was great to hear from Rachel that, the Pyramid Club is going to start doing more and more as we kind of move through this. Businesses are starting to come back, but how? A lot of folks are really just testing out strategies and concepts and don't really know if they're going to be successful or not. But that's really where we like to come in and really come up with that plan, that strategy that has the best chance for optimal success. And one thing we really want to talk about is, where has your business been? What needs to change, and what is going to prepare you to take on what comes next. Again, it's hard to compare to anything that's happened in the past, but we will still use that data, that information, to make educated decisions on how to move a company or a business forward through all this. One thing we really wanted to start off with was a list of to-dos, basically an audit for your businesses. So we'll kind of run through this. And again, these are all things that during this this pandemic, you can take some time to put energy into, and for lack of a better word, fix any issues that you may have with your business or organization. One of the first things on here is your website. A lot of folks have websites now. I know Kevin can speak to 15, 20 years ago, people thought websites weren't going to be a need. Now it's almost absurd to have a business that does not have a website, but there's some questions about that website. Does it actually serve the purpose that you need? Is it up to date? Kevin, anything else you have to contribute towards websites, things that you think people should really look out for in relation to their site?
Yeah, I would say, we all know how important having an up-to-date website is and has been for many, many years. That being said, it's also easy to look and while you're wearing many different hats in your business, sometimes it's hard to remember that, the website that you yourself may not look at all that often needs updates as well. So, this is kind of a great time when things are, possibly a little slower at work, or, things are changing, to make sure that everything is updated. And if your business has changed in any way, it's offering different hours, it's offering different products or services, special pricing, whatever it is, people are really looking at your website even more than they were before, because they don't have the option of coming into a brick and mortar location. So as important as we've been saying this is for the past couple of years, it's that much more relevant now.
Indeed. Um, Another major thing to have for your business is a style guide. And a lot of folks overlook this, especially ones that, maybe are just creating their business themselves. It gives a consistent look and feel to everything that you will put out from your brand. So of course you have your logo, but the fonts that you're using throughout all of your text, whether it be newsletters, whether it be posts or visuals that you'll create for your social media, you want that all to have a cohesive look and feel. And a style guide allows you to have this place to reference whenever you're creating everything new, or if someone else is creating something for you, that they can reference to make sure that they're following all the rules, regulations of your brand, so that it all is cohesive. And again, just it allows you to communicate to your audience much more effectively when you have that cohesion.
Yeah, and I think the style guide. We're not sitting here and saying that if you create a style guide, you're going to make it through COVID-19. The approach is every business should have some level of style guide, and depending how strict your business is with its brand. I mean, style guides can be a couple $100s, they can be a few $1,000s. It really depends how extensive you want to go. But it is something that, to some extent, we feel that every brand should have, and we want to make that companies right now are utilizing this time the best way they can, so that they come out of this national pandemic in the strongest way possible. So, while things are different and possibly a little bit slower on the business end, it's a great time to kind of refocus on things such as developing your style guide.
Indeed, and another area that's vital is understanding who you're speaking to. What is your target audience? There's always a lot of brands that just put information out, and they don't really have it curtailed to who their ideal consumer is. And that's one thing that being able to take some time and really refine who is my target market, who am I really trying to attract, how do they receive their information best, and am I curtailing all of my information to fit that mold? That entire process can really be beneficial when you're trying to communicate effectively and efficiently, and again, not waste your time and your energy in your communication. So defining that target audience is a key part of anyone's marketing strategy. So always good to check, make sure you're still reaching the right people, make sure your communication tools are appropriate for the audience you want to contact. And again, now's a great time to take the time and energy to do that.
Yeah, and if you're a B2B business, I always do it further, naming the type of business that you're trying to reach, but actually who is the individual within that business that you're trying to reach, and what does their demographic look like? What is the role? And is it an administrative assistant? Is it a mid-level, C-level? And then what does that type of demographic look like? Is it usually more male, female, older, younger, education level? What are their pain points? Because you are trying to reach the business, but there's usually one way in, and that's a specific individual who will then get you in and through to meet other people. So take it a step further if you are on the B2B side, but actually in the business are you trying to reach?
Indeed. And one thing you have to do to reach them is you have to have content. A lot of what we spoke about, how that style guide will affect everything you produce. Your content, what method is best to reach that target audience? And then of course, what does that content look like? Content is widespread. You have to do it to reach who you're trying to, communicate with, whether it be a little bit simpler and it's just newsletters or blogs. Perhaps you've taken it to another level and started to create visuals and are, creating images to post on social. A step further is you're creating video, whether it be organic video you're creating, at your house, with your phone, or you're actually hiring a company to produce professional video. All this is really impactful in your marketing strategy and how you're going to reach folks. So you have to sit there and think, what type of content have I currently been doing? Is that content the most effective content to reach my target market? Do I need to adjust my content style and type to have a better result? Content is very, very widespread. We're going to dive a little bit more into that later, but very important to have the right content that can actually propel your business forward.
Yeah, Zach mentioned in the beginning that his title with Navitas is a business development strategist. Now, development is the new method of sales. And, and that's true, that nobody wants to be sold to today. And the strategy that most companies are taking is something called inbound marketing. So instead of going outbound and trying to sell your product or service, you're putting out content essentially to bring people inbound to you. They start to see your brand, you get the repetition, you position yourself as a leader and as an expert in your industry, and they'll realize that they need your product or service, and they'll come to you. So with that inbound marketing and business development strategy in mind, that's where that content really comes.
And the last thing that to make sure you're doing, in terms of this, marketing audit, is really taking advantage of social media. Again, kind of how we mentioned websites at the beginning, and how 20 years ago folks were thinking they didn't need it. 5-7 years ago, folks were like, "Oh, I don't need social media. It's not that important." And now folks realize that social media is a vital tool to help market and promote your business. But there's a deeper level to understanding what to do on social media. Certain social media sites really are ideal and cater to certain demographics. So you want to make sure you know which site is best for the folks you're trying to reach. You don't need to be on every single social media platform, but you want to choose smartly and figure out which ones are most beneficial to the work that I'm trying to execute, the people I'm trying to speak to. And on that, I'll let you take it from here, Kevin.
Sure. So we provided a list here of the current top 30 websites in the United States, according to Alexa.com, which has nothing to do with Amazon's voice device. And this is the first interactive component of our presentation. I'd like everybody to take a look at this list and tell me, chat or unmute yourself and shout it out, but which of these websites are social media sites? Don't everybody shout it out at once.
I guess you could say YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, Netflix, Office. I never heard of Force before. That's interesting.
That's actually Salesforce.
Oh, it's Salesforce. Okay.
I didn't realize that up also.
Yeah, it seems like those are the main ones I see. I mean, Google could, in theory, be with the Google Plus and whatnot.
All right, Hannah added through the chat Instagram. I think you missed Instagram, James. If you didn't say it, I apologize. We've got a question: are all of them social media? No, they're not. That's okay. Any other guesses before we reveal the answers? All right, let's go to the next slide, Zach.
Yeah, some details about what social media actually is.
Provide three different definitions from three different sources of what exactly social media is. When we think about social media, we always jump straight to, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the LinkedIn. But really, social media, summarized, is websites or applications that provide communication between people. It's as simple as that. Something that you can supply content, something that encourages engagement, anything that provides that social element, essentially, is social media. So if we go to the next slide, we've now highlighted the pages that we consider to be social media sites. And of course, we're taking a little far. I'm not saying that every business needs to focus on this, but I kind of like to expand the mentality of what social media really means, because sometimes when we talk to clients and mention you need to be on social media, their first comment is, I have no interest in Facebook. And there's so much more to social media than that. So something like Amazon, which, it's an e-commerce site, none of us really think of that as social media, but businesses and individuals can create accounts. They can upload content. People can ask questions. They can leave reviews. Other individuals can comment on those. They can answer the questions. They can comment on the reviews. The business that's selling products can do the same thing. There's a social element to it. In a way, if you think a little bit differently, Amazon is a social media site. We can go through the list. Wikipedia, we all know why does Wikipedia provide good information, but should never be your primary source of info, because anybody can contribute to it. So, yes, Wikipedia tries to vet, the correct info and, weed out the wrong stuff, but it is something that anyone can contribute to. And change, it's social media. Same with eBay. It's kind of the same mentality as Amazon. Twitch, kind of the same thing. Of course, we talk about popular sites. There's always going to be a couple pornography sites on here, but that too. People are uploading video content. People are leaving comments on video content and ratings. Works the same way as YouTube, just happens to be a specialized topic. And actually, during this time when everybody's stuck at home, I'm surprised some of these sites are a little higher on the list. Walmart.com, again, of course, none of us think of it off the top, as a social media site, but kind of works the same way. So, you're about content and social media and engagement, it can often go beyond just the typical, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Think about online directories where your site is. Think about online reviews that you're trying to solicit. And when you are getting reviews, are you thanking people for the positive reviews? And are you responding to the negative reviews to hopefully flip that? Again, I'm not suggesting that social media, you now have to think about all these ridiculous, number of websites, but kind of just expand your mind a little bit when you're thinking about your content strategy and where that content's going to live.
So one of the things that I think is a really good use of your time during this social distancing is putting energy into becoming a thought leader. I'm sure you've heard that term plenty of times, but by actually putting a strategy in place towards branding yourself as a thought leader, you actually are doing part of that inbound marketing. You're getting other folks to really notice who you are, the service you provide, the expertise you have, and that is the beginning of that sales process of turning them into a possible client. Using this method, it's a great way to communicate with your supporters and future clientele, and you want to give them really good information about your industry. That's one of those key paramount foundations to becoming a thought leader, is you have to give out information. You basically have to give out the recipe, so to speak. Doesn't mean people can execute on themselves. They still could need your expertise to do whatever that service you're providing is. But now they trust going in that you can help them, that you are that talented individual who can provide them with, whatever those services are. Another big recommendation, if you're in that space of branding yourself as a thought leader, is live content, live videos. They are amazing right now on all social platforms because they have the highest algorithms of those platforms. And for those who don't really understand the algorithms, first off, they change nonstop for social media sites, but those are the formulas that are allowing folks to actually see your content and have your content raised to the top. To give you kind of a crude example, my guy Rick might post an amazing video of doing some gymnastics with his kids or hiking, and it's fun and I see it and I like it, but only, let's say, 10 or 12 people like that particular image. However, the next day is his birthday, and once a happy birthday post goes up, everyone seems to be commenting on it, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It's because of the algorithm. Basically, what Facebook noticed was, hey, a lot of people are starting to like this image. Let's put it on more people's pages so more people will see it and engage with it. It's assuming that because so many people liked it right away, that more similar-minded folks would want to see it. And they're doing the same kind of thing with live content. Just like if you posted words, well, that same post, if it was a static ad, would get more engagement. And then that same post, if it was a video, would get even more engagement. And then live is even more than that in terms of how folks can engage and how many people will be able to see it. So we definitely recommend, putting out live content, talking about your industry, your company, engaging with others, because all that's going to do is really boost that algorithm and have more people actually see the work that you just put out.
Yeah, I mean, it's really constant. Usually when we talk about algorithms, we think about search engine optimization. And, when you think about how SEO works, somebody does a search in Google and Google wants to provide the search results that they think the individual would want to see, what they're looking for. You know, from Google's perspective, if you're not finding the content you're looking for, you'll switch to a different search engine. So then when we think about social media, you know, it kind of works the same way. Like I said, you know, the platform you're on, they're trying to show people the content that they think people want to see. And live videos is very high up on the list right now.
And another thing you have to do, whether you're doing live videos, whether you're doing just static posts, consistency. You must continue to do it. You'll see a lot of folks will come up with you know, hashtags to kind of keep themselves on track. Motivational Mondays. Every Monday they post something in that motivational space. That consistency is what helps them build a following and brand themselves as someone who really knows what they're talking about and what they're doing. So really recommend consistency, whether again, it be with live videos, it just be with certain posts that you want to put out. You got to keep doing it. Another thing to note too is that your video content lives forever. So you want to figure out ways to repurpose it. For example, if any of you guys follow Navitas Marketing, whether it be on our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn pages, any of that stuff, over the course of the upcoming weeks, you'll actually see clips of this presentation that we're going to cut out and put into their own little videos. So there'll be one video just about being a thought leader, and it'll be this portion of this talk. So think of ways that you can repurpose the content so that you have that longevity and you really get more value out of the work that you already put in. Again, more content, higher that sort of mindset of you as a thought leader goes. So you want to continuously populate your pages with really good information, even if it's information that you gave out a month ago, 5 months ago, a year ago, it still has value.
Yeah, and you know, and going back to thinking about, you know, the COVID-19 and, you know, how our businesses are shifting and our marketing strategies are shifting. You know, one of the things that's changed for us at Navitas is our content strategy. Today, we were supposed to be hosting a lunch and learn in our office with Google, talking about, you know, some Google marketing services. And instead, here we are conducting a webinar from our houses. And I'm surprised Zach hasn't said anything yet, but this is actually the best my hair has looked in 2 months. We're on webinars pretty much every day. We've been conducting a lot of you know, seminars like this, different discussions, and I usually have some wacky hairdo, and I decided not to do it today. So you guys are welcome. Or maybe I'm sorry you missed out, depending how you choose to look at it. But you know, our content strategy has changed. We're conducting online webinars, trying to help educate and help businesses with different areas of marketing. And you know, which obviously there's, you know, some short-term gain there, but we're recording all of the videos, as Zach said. We are, you know, making sure that they're on our social platforms, they're on our YouTube, and we will continue to repurpose that. And you know, some of these presentations that we're creating kind of on the fly will hopefully integrate themselves into our ongoing content strategy, even when we do return to business as normal. You know, whatever business as normal is going to look like for us and everybody else is still to be determined. But you know, it's trying to make them positive pivots.
Right. And one last thing on the thought leader topic is you want to work with other thought leaders. That's a great method to not only sort of cross-pollinate your followership, so some of their folks, so again, are following someone who's in a similar space than you, might actually come and begin to follow you, and vice versa. It's that mindset of collaboration as opposed to competition. Being able to give out all this quality information and again, do it with others who are also thought leaders helps to brand yourself as a thought leader in that space. So again, a lot of folks have struggled with this. It's always competition. If it's not me, it's someone that's stopping me from getting business. When in all reality, there's more than enough business out there to go after, and you actually will benefit for collaborating and doing these sorts of collaborative efforts and talks and discussions with other folks that are also thought leaders in your space.
Yeah, I mean, Zach mentioned his role in the very beginning. He works with Navitas at a creative agency. He does his own marketing, business consulting, marketing consulting. He's got his video production company, and some say, wow, there's similarities there, which could be viewed as a negative. To us, we view that as a positive. And right now, again, I bring up the COVID-19, but everybody's looking at how can their businesses run more efficiently, and how can we trim the fat and work as lean and um, as lean as possible. And one of the ways of doing that is by having solid relationships and being able to work off of each other. And Zach's been part of our team for many years now, so that's not thankfully COVID-19 is not the reason we're working with him, but we kind of viewed that in the beginning that allows us to keep our team as he brings in his other entities and strengths. And my new Philly has certainly been a valuable asset to us, and I think we've definitely been a valuable asset to them. Zach is able to do his consulting and bring onboard clients our way, because he can't do everything himself, obviously. And I think that's a mentality that's now going to become more and more popular as we go along.
Right.
How can these collaborations strengthen everybody? And certainly can start with something as simple as a blog post or a webinar, creating content.
Right. And one more thing to jump into prior to kind of opening this up for questions and discussion are, really figuring out how to get the most out of your networking during this time. And we'll kind of focus this predominantly on LinkedIn. I think in terms of connecting with folks, clearly meeting face to face isn't really an option right now. LinkedIn was wildly popular before this, but there's actually been an uptick in people investing time and energy in LinkedIn. And you want to make sure that you're taking the advantage of this spike and kind of managing your LinkedIn and connecting with folks in the right way. So a couple things you want to do is, first off, update your account. It's very important to have your account up to date, and I'll mark out a couple key areas that I'm suggesting. As you can see, that's my LinkedIn page, which actually needs to be updated, but that's my LinkedIn page on the side. And simple adjustments and changes that I'd recommend for folks to kind of get the most out of the platform. One is a background for your profile. As you can see on mine, I put a bunch of logos of some of the brands that I work with on my background. Typically, a lot of folks who don't do this have that blue background with the connected dots on it. And every time I just see that, I'm just thinking, oh, this person must be new to LinkedIn, or they don't really know, how to use their profile. It's not necessarily a negative connotation I have of a business or an individual, but it's not as positive as it could be if someone takes the time and energy to create a background and really put some personality into their account. And similar thing in terms of personality is that about me section and how you describe yourself. Figure out a creative way to showcase what you do. If you're looking at my account, I don't have on there, in terms of my job title, as business development strategist at Navitas. I have business grower, dot connector, problem solver, content creator, and hat wearer, because I wear a lot of hats. That's a fun way for me to showcase to someone, I can help you out. I'm not putting out there specifically what we're going to do or how I'm going to do it, but I'm engaging you and kind of luring you in with you wanting to learn more about those different elements. And again, that can bleed right down into your about section and really making that custom to you. And the big thing is just being creative, and this bleeds not only just in your account, but some of the content that you put out. How are you showcasing yourself on LinkedIn? Do people, like, when you look at an account, what makes you want to engage with someone? That's the kind of energy you want to put into yours, so that folks really want to engage with you when they come to your page. One big thing also is, and I've had a lot of talks about this with folks, is reaching out to new people on LinkedIn and building with existing ones. Now, in terms of reaching out to new contacts, again, now is a very interesting time. You really have to have messaging that first and foremost acknowledges the current state that folks are in and is sympathetic to any issues they may have. You don't know if they're going through difficulties. You could be reaching out to someone on LinkedIn whose business may not come out of this. And again, the last thing on their mind is, let me update LinkedIn and let people know that things are going rough. So I've taken sort of a secondary approach to that. I do make some new contacts on LinkedIn, but my main focus has been building with existing contacts. I'm sure many of you guys have thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of connections on LinkedIn. And a lot of those people you haven't communicated with. You maybe met them at an event or exchanged business cards, but you haven't really built a relationship with folks. And really relationships is the key to all business, whether we're talking sales or collaboration and partnerships. You have to establish that relationship, and now is an amazing time to do that. So sending personal messages to folks. A big thing that I've been doing a lot on LinkedIn is sending direct emails off of LinkedIn. You'll notice when you go to someone's account, there's actually a button where you can see their contact info, which you can kind of see it right here on my screen. When you click on that, they're more often than not everyone has it, but typically their email is displayed there. So I usually will go and take that email and then actually send them a personalized email. I think that's a much better way to get their attention. Sometimes I'm flooded with LinkedIn messages and I'm not always noticing who's reaching out, what they're saying. I get hit with so much LinkedIn spam that I kind of ignore a lot that even gives me that feeling. So this is a way to kind of circumvent that and send those direct emails to really figure out a way to grow with these individuals. My personal recommendation is setting up 15-minute combos, 20-minute combos with folks, offering that time to get to know who they are and understand what they offer and teach them a little bit about yourself. But yes, LinkedIn can be a really great tool to build on relationships. And now is a great time to kind of come with that approach and just reconnecting with folks. And again, where those relationships mature, that's kind of up to you and that individual. But there's no better time than now to actually put that energy in just connecting with folks and building those relationships.
Yeah, for sure. And the only other thing that I would add is thinking back to the content strategy. LinkedIn is not so new anymore, but LinkedIn has an article blogging platform. And in thinking about algorithms, that content that you create typically ranks higher than any other post that you're going to just create from your account specifically. So in thinking of putting out good content and creating yourself as that thought leader, as that industry expert, it's a great it's a great strategy as well. To any content you're creating, make sure you're getting that on LinkedIn as well, on LinkedIn forms, not just a link to something else.
Right. And just real quick, before we just open up for questions, is we had a couple different marketing strategies that we thought would be really great for folks to implement, especially if you don't have them already or haven't done them already. The first one we have on here is EDDM, which I didn't know what that meant until I met Kevin, but that's every door direct mail. As of right now, folks are in their homes. So this is a great way to reach them where they're at. And Kevin, I don't want to misspeak, so I'll let you dive a little bit more into what EDDM looks like for someone that wants to execute on that.
So we all know direct mail is nothing new. Direct mail has always had its level of successes, but also comes with a pretty high price point when you think about postage and acquiring mailing lists. So what EDDM is, it's a program through the USPS, the United States Postal Service, where rather than having to purchase a mailing list and print mailing labels and send it with higher levels of postage, you can actually send it to specific courier routes, and you're sending it to every home on the courier route. So therefore, you do not have to label and sort your mail, and because it's so much easier, post office also lower rate. So yes, you are sending it to everyone. You're not selecting individuals, but you can choose specific courier routes, which is typically a neighborhood or maybe just a couple neighborhoods. So there is still a pretty decent level of flexibility in terms of who you're trying to reach, but brings that price point much lower.
Mm-hmm. And a big key about that when you are considering doing direct mail is the design of what you're actually sending out. What does that messaging look like? We've even had clients that have gone the gamification route, and you're sending out, a mailer with a scratch off on it and really engaging with the folks who are receiving it. So this direct mail is a great thing to utilize now, just because most people are at home and actually checking their mail. But of course, you have to put that energy into the design and the strategy behind what you're sending out, so you can get that maximum effectiveness. And another interesting thing is newsletters. You know, there's a lot of folks who receive them and always said, I would love to put a newsletter together for my business, but haven't really taken the time and energy to do so. One of the toughest things about a newsletter is consistency. We mentioned that in an earlier slide. You have to do it on a recurring basis, whether you choose to do it monthly, quarterly, weekly, whatever it is. You must keep up that consistency. But a newsletter can be a really effective way of reaching folks, assuming you have a database of emails. It's more successful than even social media. You can really have a better success rate, a better open rate with the content that you're sending out through a newsletter or an email campaign. So now's a great time to kind of revamp that and have that, build that connection with your audience. And another one on here is creating explainer videos. A lot of folks think that video production isn't feasible because of, you know, the COVID situation, but in all actuality, you can create really great videos without actually having person-to-person connection. Everything from things that are more animated, like whiteboard videos, all the way to, you know, videos that are using stock footage. There's platforms that offer hundreds of thousands of stock video that actually can showcase and give you the imagery that goes along with what you're trying to say and what you're trying to present to your audience. So with a properly crafted script and voiceover, you can actually create really great videos without actually meeting anyone face to face. And now that's awesome content you're able to share on your platforms, in your newsletter, on your social sites, your LinkedIn, basically everywhere. Again, video lasts forever. You want to really repurpose that and put it as many places as you can. What were you going to say, Kevin?
No, I was agreeing with you. For
Indeed.
once, I didn't have much to say.
So, and just again, that's just sort of an overview of, you know, where we're at right now in terms of, you know, COVID and how you have to take all those different areas into consideration in terms of restructuring your marketing and making sure that you're prepared for when this all ends to actually hit the ground running, and using your marketing strategy to help you execute on that. So now we can kind of open it up to any questions, open discussions. And Kevin, I'm not seeing the chat. I don't know if any questions came through on the chat during this, but if anyone has any questions or thoughts they'd like to share, now's a great time to do so.
Yeah, feel free to unmute your mic, or if you want to send a message through the chat, you can send it to me privately, or you can send it to the group. But obviously we have limited time here, and there are so many different directions that we could have gone in with this presentation in terms of, adjusting your marketing strategy on the fly, and, thinking about, what have you been doing, up until what have you been wishing differently, that maybe, now's the time to start implementing some of that, or more on the fly, what changes have you seen just over the past month or two in your business that really require something totally different that maybe you weren't thinking about in the past because it wasn't necessary then. So please, let's open up the discussion. If anyone has any thoughts, questions, just want to tell us how awesome we did, that's fine too.
Hi, this is Linda. I have a question.
Sure.
And I don't know if I missed this, but when you're looking geographically at a certain vertical market and you're marketing and you're doing some of these suggested ideas, so when you want to disseminate a certain vertical a market within a certain geography, what is the tool that you would use? Would you work with some other third party that specializes in that part, or how do you get that target to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably, it's going to be one of those generic answers that it's different for everyone. It depends, really what your business model is and who you're trying to reach. But generally speaking, I would say social media is a great way to get video content dispersed. And pretty much every social platform today has advertising options available. And you can always target traffic and geographic location you're trying to reach. So whether that be Google ads specifically on the YouTube network, or Facebook ads, or promoting Instagram, if you have a video uploaded to your IGTV, there are always targeting options available. So, something like Facebook or Instagram, yes, you can just say, I want to pay to make sure the video gets in front of my existing audience or, friends of my existing audience. But you can also try to hit specific demographics of people. And absolutely one of the things you should do is look at the appropriate geographic region.
And if it wasn't like see B2B, so let's say you wanted to go to CEOs of companies, would you go through LinkedIn and take the video, and does that just get posted pretty specifically through LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn works pretty similarly to Facebook advertising. Then again, yes, you upload it to either your personal page or your business page, and you can advertise to specific groups of followers or specific job roles, specific geographic areas, usually a combination of all of that. Facebook actually has that option also if there's specific titles that you're trying to reach, president, CEMO, CTO. There's C something O. It seems like for every letter in the alphabet. But they all do offer that type of targeting. One of the things that we also mentioned was trying, and maybe you weren't on the conversation yet, but we talked about when you are trying to target to B2B, usually there is a specific individual within that business that you're trying to reach. So think about what does the demographic of that individual look like. So, not just the job role, but maybe that job role usually has a certain education level, maybe a certain age range, maybe it's specific income level, specific interests. So those are still demographics that you can target. That doesn't guarantee that it's the CEO, but at least it's getting you closer to that appropriate role.
And if you connect with an organization like LinkedIn, I know a lot of these organizations, you can't just call a number and say, I'd like to talk to somebody to get some more detail on how to put, if you're using the word an ad in LinkedIn. So is it obvious when you go to the site where the advertising would be?
It is, yeah, it is pretty obvious. It's there. I'm happy to follow up with you later if you're interested.
Okay, thanks.
My email address is khomer@navitas.com.
Oh, okay,
Email
thanks.
me, and happy to kind of walk you through that and show you where that advertising section is.
Okay, thanks.
There's definitely a skill to identifying the correct demographics. But yeah, I mean, it is something that anybody should be able to do if they have the interest and kind of that marketing knowledge, in terms of who to target, how to target them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question. Thank you guys for your little presentation here. It was great. I got a lot of information. I was scribbling a lot of stuff down.
Awesome.
When it comes to marketing to like the B2B, I individual and I also try to do some B2B type things. Is it better to keep one consistent message to the B2B? Should you blend it between the two? Like my thought is I've always been battling, do I keep my B2B at LinkedIn and then to individuals through Facebook? And then when it comes to B2B, I could have a variety of different things to go towards, whether it be, in my case, it would be realtors, dealerships, or even companies that have larger than 250 people. Is there an effective way to try to spray, or should it just be like one effective message?
Yeah. Jump in.
What'd you say, Kevin?
I said, do you have any thoughts, or you want me to jump in on that?
Yeah, no, I'm sure we both have some thoughts towards it. I am a proponent of actually having the different messages on the same platform of who you're trying to speak to, and crafting your message, for those individual bases. So just for example, let's say if you had some sort of message to the B2Bs, and I'll just use video because that's what I'm most familiar with. Let's say if you were to create a message on a video to those individuals, yes, you're going to use LinkedIn to get that directly into their inboxes, message that to folks, get their emails, and send the direct emails to them as well. If there's individuals that you need to connect with, and let's say that's different messaging, if those individuals are also on LinkedIn, I would still use that platform to direct that message towards them as well. It's kind of a where are the people you need to reach, what platform are they on, and then use your messaging on those platforms to reach them. So I wouldn't really keep one platform just for one audience and another for the other. I think it's okay for the people you're talking to know all those other different facets and areas that you're reaching out to individuals. I think that only strengthens sort of their opinion of you and not really diminishes it, if that kind of answers the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And then I would also say, sometimes data can be your friend if you have data. So you may see that your B2B contacts, there's a better time to reach them. Maybe it's during work hours. Maybe they're not on social media or whatever platforms you're using during work hours, and it's better to reach them at night or on the weekend. Consumers you're trying to reach may be different. So not only would the messaging be a little bit different, but maybe the time of day or the day of the week that you're trying to reach them could vary as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments? We got about 5 more minutes, so we actually did pretty well with this one.
I'm not a marketing person, but I didn't know about this EDDM, and I found that to be pretty interesting to be able to pick like which courier routes your mailings can go to. Again, I have very, very limited experience, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I think regardless if you're experienced or not, it's a helpful tool for people to. So you still can do the simple, hey, here's my location. I have a pizza shop. Here's where we're located. I want to reach, a 2-mile radius, and we can select every courier route along that, within that radius. But it's great that in the past you had to purchase a mailing list, which could be a couple $1,000s in itself. You had to pay for postage, which now EDDM, that postage can be half the cost or sometimes a third of the cost. So it can be very helpful. It is not a tool for B2B, I will tell you that. You're either reaching, you can choose between either all the residents in particular route or residents and businesses on a courier route. But you cannot select just businesses. So unfortunately, anybody who is purely in that B2B market, this is not a program for you. But if you are interested in reaching residential homes, it is a great option. Doesn't always work great in apartment buildings. I'll tell you that also. Sometimes the way mailings work in apartment buildings are always different. But if the apartments are responsible for distributing mail, usually take to a mail carrier dropping off a stack of 150 of the same thing. So it doesn't always work great from that sense, but if you are sending it to homes or homes and businesses, it's an awesome program. Definitely can save you a lot of money.
Awesome. Well, I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but I know that I would personally like to thank you both for offering to do this program for us. I think a lot of really interesting information was covered. And for those of you who joined later, we did record this. So if you can contact Zach and Kevin directly, they'll have a copy of it. Anything else? Any parting words, gentlemen?
No, I think you summed it up great. I appreciate Rachel and the Pyramid Club for inviting us to to meet all of you and speak with you today. I appreciate the engagement, the back and forth. These get a little boring when we just listen to ourselves for an hour. So thank you all for your comments. That's all I got. Zach, any last words?
Yeah, no, again, Rachel and Pyramid Club, thank you, much appreciated. And I hope to connect with everyone on LinkedIn. I put our LinkedIn backslashes on here, so please feel free to find me and Kevin, and we'd love to grow our network.